Claire. How are you today?
Well, I'm here.
I think all of us can only say that at some times. So how have you been doing since I last saw you?
I guess I've been doing okay.
Have you taken up smoking and drinking?
No, I've given those up forever.
Adopted 12
The Department
cats?
of Elder Affairs
No.
announced the Dementia
Good.
Care
Oh my
and
God.
Cure Initiative, DCCI, in 2015. In 2017, Lee County was only the second county in the state of Florida to join the DCCI task force. Our purpose is to engage communities across the state to be more dementia-friendly, promote better care for Floridians affected by dementia, and support research efforts to find a cure. Our goal is to see all Florida communities engaged in providing better care for those affected by dementia while we work towards a cure. We do this by increasing awareness of education, support, and resources for those affected by dementia, providing assistance to dementia-caring communities, and continuing advocacy for care and cure programs.
As a nurse practitioner, my job is to help patients and their families navigate a very difficult diagnosis of dementia. Our clinic is one of 15 in the state, part of the memory disorder clinic setup. What we do is diagnose and treat memory disorders. So my role is to meet with families, present results, and to deal with challenges such as problems with eating, sleeping, behavior, and help on the process of eventually placing patients. Also, my role is providing education for the community.
Florida has the second highest incidence rate of Alzheimer's disease in the nation, only behind California. There are over 540,000 individuals living with Alzheimer's disease in Florida. By 2025, this number is projected to reach 720,000. These numbers do not include other forms of dementia. There are approximately 1,121,000 unpaid caregivers in Florida that care for loved ones with Alzheimer's disease or a related dementia.
And for me, coming to memory care to see Miss Petrin and to see Casey is good for me, because I'm able to pull it out and talk and not just keep it inside and be frustrated. So right now, I even sing to her in the morning sometimes. Believe it or not, I do. I have a big sign, a big thing, big in the board, a whiteboard that says smile first thing in the morning. And so I give her a toast, give her a big kiss. She watches a little bit of TV, but she's starting to get ready, and for the day, for her shower and things like that. And so I have to do this. I cannot bring a third party into this situation because I will have a major problem at home. I had a major problem, and I still do, with ladies coming over to clean the house every month. Let me tell you, the first time that I did that, it was a disaster because I wasn't prepared to her type of reaction. A total negative reaction, meaning her eyes were red, bloody, of anger. So I took her outside to the garage, I set her in a chair, and I talked to her very, very quietly as I can go. And I explained to her. So then my training with memory care said, okay, Bert, hold on a second. Change the subject. So he talked about going to, I think it was to visit a friend on a few blocks away. Said, we need to go and see so-and-so. And then she forgot that. She forgot the ladies were cleaning the house. And we changed the subject, and she sort of corrected that problem, that anger. That's what I said on the previous meeting here, is that frustration. It isn't frustration, it's inside of her that says, I can't do this. And she can't. So it builds up. And so I have to bring her down a little bit and calm her down. And she's not physical, not at all. But she has this internal anger that can come out through her eyes. And I understand it. And I know it's a big problem. But I got to live with it.
So one of the things that we find is just being able to identify a patient that has dementia. And sometimes we have to be very creative and actually almost make it like a mystery, trying to solve what's going on. Because sometimes we could miss it and think maybe the patient's not being compliant, or maybe the patient's being difficult with us, but truly it might be something where there's a memory issue. So some of the signs that we try to utilize and that we picked up through training is, hey, look, let's look for a file of life. It actually will have that information. Being aware of some of the memory care doctors or some of the associations and societies, if you actually see some mail that's coming from one of those places. Talking with caregivers. Sometimes that's our best resource, that caregiver is giving that information. But absence of that caregiver, we have to have other ways. Looking for bracelets or necklaces or something that would indicate that this person's memory impaired. That's going to be one of the better ways to actually figure out that, hey, this person has dementia. Expect to change how we do our assessment, expect how to change how we do our communication. So just looking for those signs, and a lot of times those signs are sitting right there in your face, whether it be on the patient, whether it be in the file of life, or some type of discharge paper from maybe type of facility, or even just a simple calendar that's from memory care or something of that nature could kind of clue us in that this patient is actually suffering from dementia.
Lee County has over 177,000 residents age 65 and older. Of those, more than 21,000 residents have been diagnosed with probable Alzheimer's disease. This number does not include other types of dementia.
I know that you had a funny time too when he sat on the toilet for 2.5 hours. And you were smart enough, you were wise enough to figure out how to get him to communicate with you, with Sophie, how all that went with firefighters and Sophie.
Yeah, he went to the bathroom, and I had a special toilet made so he wouldn't have to go all the way down. And I said, "Al, you have to get up. It's now 3 hours that you're sitting there. You have to get up." He said, "No, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine." So I just called the fire department and I said, "I'm really very sorry, but I'm asking for lift assistance because it's free. They come over." And I said, the firemen are going to come and they're going to help you get up. He said, "Okay." He sat on the toilet bowl. And when they came in, they were kind of snickering and laughing. And I said, "Oh, you think you're so smart, because I worked with them all the time." And I said, you're making fun of me and you're going to tell the whole damn neighborhood what is going on. With that, Aldo popped up out of the seat. He said, "Hi, how are you?" And my first instinct was that I wanted to hit him. And the firemen saw that and they said, "Just calm down, just calm down." He said, "There's nothing you can do about it. Learn to laugh about it." I said, "Well, you think it's funny, but I don't think it's funny at all."
So when dealing with communication with our dementia patients, one of the things that we found, and some examples of that, are using certain things that actually work well to spark that trigger in the patient's mind. One example I know for myself when I was trying to deal with a dementia patient was utilizing the caregiver. And one of the things that was so successful with that is that that patient had a relationship with that caregiver already. That caregiver knew everything about that individual. So what I would do as a provider, I'd speak to the caregiver, and the caregiver would then speak to the patient and would actually be essentially doing our assessment, doing our directions, and working with that patient. Some other staff members that we've worked with have shared stories about how they've actually used things such as mints. Hey, the patient loves mints, and you can utilize that as a trigger or something to actually utilize that. Some other stories that I'm familiar with is actually finding that if a patient is really in love with animals or dogs or cats or whatever it might be, and utilizing that to get that person to understand, hey, we may have an animal out here that we'd love for you to introduce you to. And that's a great way to actually utilize that to get that person to be able to move as quickly as we need if it's in a kind of threatening or somewhat emergent type of situation that's not life-threatening. But finding that trigger and finding that something, that common ground with those individuals, whether it be a mint, whether it be an animal, whether it be a caregiver, are just different tactics and different ways that we've learned through training to be able to effectively meet the need of what we need to get done with those patients.
Due to impairments in communication and discomfort in individuals with dementia, you may see changes in behaviors. DCCI has created an approach in response to behaviors referred to as talk tactics. When communicating with an individual with memory impairment, it is best to use talk tactics to help them feel safe and comfortable. T. Take it slow. A. Ask simple questions. L. Limit reality checks. K. Keep eye contact.
And she's infatuated with bugs, so you better hope your store doesn't have any, because she'll find them.
Whenever I'm walking, I'm always looking around, and when I see one,
What's that back there?
there's a whole bunch over here.
Do you think they're real?
But then, no,
Okay.
they're just a piece of art.
But if you saw a real one, you'd know it,
Oh,
right?
but then it starts with a
S.
S?
Spy.
Spiders?
Spider.
Spiders. Oh, see,
Yeah.
S-P-I? S-P-I-D?
Spider.
E-R. Oh, see, S-P-I-D-R.
So what do you think? Do you like this place?
Oh, some really interesting dogs. Every reality. Because of the spider.
For me and Maria, it's not that challenging at this point, but I'm around a lot of people that it is a lot more of a challenge to go out places. So I just hope that more businesses take up the challenge and get the training so that they can put that sticker on the window, and then they can use it to advertise to get people in. Then it'll just help, because this disease isn't going away, and there's going to be many more of us that are dealing with it. So.
I am Councilwoman Teresa Watkins Brown, and my role as an advocate for the Dementia Task Force is twofold. As an elected official, I need to understand the various issues that are faced in the city of Fort Myers, as well as the Ward 1 community that I serve. There are many individuals within our city who are suffering with mental illness. And even though dementia is not considered a mental illness, it's a memory loss disorder that affects the brain. Individuals are vulnerable to many safety issues such as wandering, scams, abuse, and driving mobility.
So if you have an officer that approaches somebody who has dementia, maybe it's numerous calls that this family has made, or it's a first-time contact, what would you suggest, or what training would you advise for your officers approaching them?
The one thing that I stress to the officers is always use patience and compassion. Treat them as if it were your family member. And it's hard because sometimes that person's very angry at you, they don't know you, they don't understand the uniform, but you have to just be patient, take your time, be clear, be concise, don't yell, just try to defuse and calm the situation as much as possible.
As far as what you do, your position in the community, what your office does, what are some of the typical calls that you get concerning elders in the community? What's scams, anything to do with elders, just to start?
Well, we get a lot on the scam aspect, and we refer them to Seniors versus Crime, which is through the Attorney General's office, but his house right here at the Cape Coral Police Department. Alvin Dupin Center is a resource that we always want to recommend to families for counseling what's next with their loved ones.
I know why people with Alzheimer's feel downhearted. They're emotionally, physically, and sometimes spiritually forever feeling lost, adrift at sea. It doesn't matter where they're going because there's simply nowhere to go. Every turn feels like the wrong turn. Each attempt to find our way leads to somewhere where we don't know where we are. It is confusing. What we used to know is false. We are no longer sure of the road we are on, and we cannot remember the path to take to find our way home. How one can live with such confusion. And sometimes, when we are home, we don't feel like we're being there because being there sometimes, or maybe often, is a burden to our caregivers. Alzheimer's is a cruel disease that rots the memory. It is a lonely, frightening disease, but we try to live with it, not as a friend, but as a reminder of who is really in charge, God. And then there are the caregivers, the angels of mercy who watch over us, remind us what to do, where to go, and sometimes how to dress. God bless them for watching over us at the risk of becoming overwhelmed. There is no way on earth to thank them, no way to apologize for upsetting their lives and plans. All we can do is thank them 1,000,000 times over and pray the Lord will reward them for their sacrifice and grant them peace and keep them safe on earth, and when their time comes, a place in heaven eternally. Above all, maintain a sense of humor.